Alright guys, welcome back to Brown Boys Theory. We are on episode 9 of the podcast. One more episode till the finale of season 1. And then we're going to be getting into season 2. And also a happy new year from the both of us. I know it's going to be hopefully an exciting year. What's your thoughts for 2021?
Man, I don't know, dude. I'm excited, honestly.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, obviously there's some, we didn't get off to the best start. But then again, it's not like the new year just means a complete reset, right? So
Yeah.
some things carry over. But I'm looking forward to a better year than last year.
Mhm.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's the same thing for everyone. Everyone just wants to get like somewhat of a reset, a restart. But obviously, we have to still remember, we're still here in this pandemic. Even though there is hope, vaccines are getting distributed throughout the world, the country, and stuff like that. So definitely a bit more hope for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one main thing we just need to focus on and we need to remember is just because it's 2021, it doesn't mean that the pandemic is over, right?
Mhm.
Just because, now there's a different office doesn't mean that, problems are done. It's just things haven't necessarily changed. So we still need to take all that into account.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I still remember like watching like the Powerball and stuff just like going down on like New Year's Eve, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it's just hopefully better stuff this year.
that's fact.
And, new surprises and things like that. And speaking of surprises, I think we should let everyone know about our guest today.
Yeah, so we got a guest today. This guest is actually a pretty good friend of both me and Sankalp. We've known him for a pretty long time, pretty much just like a family friend, things like that. And yeah, we're about to bring him on.
So everyone welcome Kushaj.
Alrighty,
And there he is.
we're recording.
Welcome, Kushaj.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Kushaj, do you want to talk a little bit about yourself, like hobbies, things like that, what you're into?
So I play the saxophone, I make music, and I'm studying communications and journalism and a little bit of business. That's what I'm doing these days, and I'm 19.
Perfect. Yeah. So, Kushaj, you're at FLC right now, Folsom Lake, right?
Yes, sir.
And I was just gonna add, you're doing the transfer program?
Yeah. So I'm looking to transfer to Sac State, Reno, San Jose, and a couple other ones. But the transfer program works pretty well with Sac State, so that's kind of my safety, so to speak. Yeah.
I mean, if you go to Sac State, welcome.
Welcome here, bro.
We're here for you, man.
Stingers up, bro.
That's fact. So you had since you're a year older than us, you had your first semester, everything in person, right? So how was like the difference between being in person and like being online last year?
Big difference, man. First thing is you can raise your hand without pressing a button, and you can actually see the whiteboard and not just the top of your professor's head. So that was pretty nice. But, I was actually in a math class, it was calc, and halfway through, that was when the coronavirus happened. So that class just switched to online, and the professor had no clue what to do. You know what I mean? So it was this awkward phase. And yeah, a lot of people, I noticed we started with 30 students and we ended with 15. So it just goes to show how people felt about that. But I survived, luckily, which is pretty nice. But it's just, latency sucks. That's all I could say,
Yeah. And also, how's the pandemic changed you personally, from your everyday in-person life to now this virtual setting?
Dude, a lot, man. It gives you so much time to focus on yourself. I feel it's only been a year. I feel 3 years older. You know what I mean? It's nice. But I think it just goes either two ways. Either you find it hard to adjust, or you just force yourself to focus on what you need to focus on that you've been putting away for a while. So it was kind of nice in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. Especially the growing 3 years in 1 year. I feel like that's something everyone went through this year. Just because, all the events that happened in 2020 at least, or even in the beginning of 2021, caused you to mature and think differently in a sense, or realize, that the game is different now, or it's more serious now, especially for, I know me and Anish were 18, we just came into the world. So now it's different for us, and we have to take things actually a lot more serious, especially things such as voting or college, just stuff like that. It just felt, oh, we're in the real world now. It's not
Yeah,
it's not
Mm.
high school. It's not playtime. Everything's real
exactly.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because for
It's
me,
true.
like the one thing that I like about like virtual like school and like this online setting is that like we don't need to like drive like for like for me for example it's like 30 minutes to drive to Sac State, so that's the one thing I kind of like, and also I can just like wake up like 10 minutes before, especially like if I just want to get in some extra sleep, extra time to take rest. And yeah, like as Kushaj was saying, like it gives you like extra time to focus on yourself and try to adjust to things that maybe you weren't doing previously because you've been busy with your everyday lives, going outdoors, doing daily activities. So it definitely gives you some time to focus on yourself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I got a question for you, Kushaj.
Hmm.
What is one thing you learned about yourself during this quarantine that you didn't know before? Like a new thing you learned about yourself.
I think it's safe to say that I am a morning person, and I did not know that because I was just, I don't know, I never really tried to wake up early, especially initially when the coronavirus started. I was waking up at like 9, 9:40, 10 because my classes started late. But then later, I started just forcing myself to go on runs at like 5. And I just started waking up 4:30 a.m. like habitually. So I start sleeping at like 8 p.m. now. So it's like it's a different schedule, and I kind of feel more accustomed to it. It's nice.
Do you think you're gonna change when like in-person school starts?
I think it will
The
stay the
8:30,
same.
8 p.m. sleeping. You're just gonna try and follow it.
I think I'm gonna follow it. Yeah, it just feels more comfortable for me. I feel more energized throughout the day, so it's nice. Yeah, I give a
It's
lot
good.
of. It's productive and stuff.
It's
Mm.
good. It's good.
Yeah, because I mean, like I think even like before the pandemic hit, like I generally wake up like around like 6 o'clock in the morning, things like that. Some days I wake up like around the same time, like 4:30. Like especially
Hmm.
if I want to like drive somewhere to go like capture the sunrise, since I use my drone, things like that. Yeah,
Nice.
but so like some days I wake up late, some days I wake up early, but it's just like something you're getting used to.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But you go like on morning runs and stuff, right?
yeah. It's
Yeah.
nice. It kind of just like it's like meditation, in my opinion. Because it just puts you in your head, in your thoughts, and you feel more focused throughout the day. Because it's kind of like doing the hardest thing first. Everything after that just feels a lot more you know easier, um, and it doesn't make you feel like you're working as hard when you just kind of get it all out of you in the morning.
Mm. Like how many miles do you go for?
So the farthest I've gone, so I live across the street from Empire Oaks. I've gone to Palladio, so it's probably like a good maybe 4 or 5 miles. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
solid.
but yeah, it's good. But legs hurt.
Yeah.
How was it like getting into it? Was that the worst?
Dude, yeah, definitely. Oh my god, first like 3 days, I would say it was like wow, huffing and puffing. Like it was. I wouldn't say it was terrible because I knew what the end game was, but it was just like a lot at first. But then I found myself able to run a lot more and be more comfortable with it. So it was nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people, at least for running, I've heard things like people say, "Oh, the first day is the hardest," or "No, it's the second day." What would you say? Would you say the first day when you initially start, that's the hardest, or the day after when your legs are sore for the first time?
It's definitely when your legs are sore for the first time. First day, you're like, oh, you're like, you're like a little kid. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go run as much as I can, and then you do, and then the next day you're like, oh, I did that, and then you can't run as much because your legs hurt. So yeah, definitely second, third day. After a week, I'd say you just get so used to it. Um, it just feels good.
Mm. Yeah, I definitely remember feeling that, especially when SANKALP recommended me to get into jump rope. because like definitely like on the first and second day I was like, oh, I got this, like this is easy. And then
Yeah,
after that, like I started getting like shin splints, as like Sankalp was saying. I was like, dang it, this
yeah.
happened. Yeah,
It
but
just
definitely like
happens.
I'm working it on my own time, and like I still try to like push myself a little bit, even though like it still hurts. But definitely like
Hmm.
trying to get out of my comfort zone is definitely something that I'm definitely working on.
Yeah, that's the idea. I feel like it
Yeah.
just kind of pushes you into a different zone when you maximize your limits, when you just keep going. Because if you settle, you'll feel like, oh, this is fine. But truly, you can always go farther, and it feels good to do that. So,
Hmm.
Yeah. For I know for like the soreness that you get after like a workout.
hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy that soreness a lot just because it's kind of like battle scars in a sense. You're like
Yeah,
it hurts, but you worked your body and you worked yourself as a person to a complete new level, and you're gonna get something out of it. So I always
exactly.
appreciate those sorenesses afterwards.
Yeah, it's like a nice reminder.
Yeah.
Hmm. And I know, like, definitely, especially, once we got into the pandemic, I know you've, especially on your social media, like on Snapchat and Instagram, you've definitely been more open about like mental health and like, trying to, help people get like a higher potential, unlock that higher potential. So, like, what are your
Definitely.
thoughts on that?
I feel like it's important to, one, focus on yourself, and two, you got to realize that it's a pretty cold world, and you just have to be able to depend on what your capabilities are. So, the higher capability you unlock, higher potential you unlock, that's the farther you'll be able to go. That's the more you'll be able to accomplish. And from an entrepreneurship standpoint, that's more you'll be able to sell for yourself. So, yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Like I agree with that, especially over this pandemic. Well, I'm not gonna lie. In high school, I wasn't necessarily the best student. I didn't take everything as seriously as I should have, and I definitely faced some backlash because of it, just as a person. But I feel like for me, honestly, one thing that really helped was I started once you get your mind in the right place, and once you start instead of focusing on distractions, you start focusing on your main goal, right? That's when things start to change, and then you can see that whether it's working out or whether it's getting your grades together, whether it's trying to quit a bad habit you have, any of those things, right? As soon as you get your mind in the right place, as soon as you start realizing that it's worth it, I feel like you're gonna, as a person, just when you start to see even the smallest changes, that'll push you to continue. For example, I can talk the most about working out just because for me, I was at a point where I was easily, like, I'm just going to be honest, from this point right now to when I started for working out, I've lost a total of around 80 something pounds. So when I started, if I saw even like a slight change in my weight, like decrease, that would just push me. Like, okay, I can do it. I see something, I'm going to push myself to do more. And whether that's you take that mindset into business, into writing, into speaking, into anything, computer science, computer engineering, any subject you want to go into, if you celebrate your small victories, because that'll push you to get even bigger victories. That's what I have to think about. Just because if you stop yourself because you're like, oh, it's only a small victory, that doesn't mean anything, then you're never gonna get a big victory. If you start seeing every single victory as a victory, look at the positive instead of the negative. That'll push you to do more. It'll push you to your bigger victory. That's at least what I believe.
It's
What
a
about
good
you,
point.
Anish?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like in 2018, I wasn't like in the best mindset. Like, I wasn't happy with my weight, or like I wasn't happy with like my surroundings. Like, I just felt like I had like a lot of negative people around me, and it was like pushing me like farther away. But I feel like what really like made me get back on my feet and everything was definitely traveling. Because in 2019, I traveled to Japan, which was by far like one of the best places I've traveled to, and definitely traveling there just like made my mindset just feel a lot better because the people there are like super respectful. Like, and you just like kind of take that energy and you like work it into your own. and it like definitely helps you out into like a better mental state. And also, I traveled to Europe too, and definitely like taking the time to relax. I feel like people don't necessarily like see that as a benefit because like they just want to get like the most work done. But the more you do that, you definitely get to a higher state of like burnout, which is like where people definitely don't have the energy, or they're just like not feeling to do something that particular day. So definitely the one thing I highly recommend people to do is like make sure you take your breaks because they are very, very important. So that way you don't get burnt out later in the end.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Did, did Kushaj like freeze on us?
I think we should move frozen.
Yeah.
It's okay. This is the
All the way
this
from.
is Zoom stuff.
Let's see. Probably exited. We'll get him
Oh
back,
yeah.
guys.
Yep. Well, in the meantime, just from us at Brown Boys Theory to you, this is what happens with Zoom, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's something we all have to work with, something we all have to live with, because that's what it is right now.
Yeah. All right. He's coming back. All right. There we are.
All right.
All right, we're good. Yeah, we're good.
All right, I lagged out. I disappeared, but I'm back.
I think he lagged out again.
And I think that's really key to growth.
You're gonna have to repeat the first part of your sentence just because
Yeah, it was like still lagging.
you lagged out a little bit.
Okay, cool. Let's try again. So, going back to
Oh,
Brown Boys difficulties.
anyways, guys, while we're waiting here, make sure you all go subscribe.
Subscribe, like, comment, share, all the above.
Yeah. And also, like while Kushaj is working this out, I know for the audio portion, if you guys have been following up on that, I know we haven't been consistent with uploading on audio purely just because we are on the free account or on the free plan, so we can't really upload every single audio version to Spotify and iTunes. So definitely, I think we're going to be uploading like 2 of the podcasts like per month. That way, like we don't get logged out or banned from our audio accounts. So yeah, just letting you guys know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're not using the audio portion, thank you for using our YouTube and connecting with us there.
Yeah. Oh, switch to iPhone.
Switch to my phone. It's all good. Now I can use data just in case.
I see.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I think we ended off talking about like definitely not to get burnt out and like take your breaks since it's really important.
Yeah, that's like key because if you're not mentally all there, then you can get really distracted.
Right.
Good.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like I think yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I was just gonna say that I know like a lot of creators who I watch, since that's how I learned like filmmaking and stuff. Like definitely a lot of them have gone through burnout. So like I've seen a lot of their videos talking about why breaks are super important. Because like for them, they have like so many like meetings and different tasks that they need to do with like working with different companies, sponsorships, brands, things like that. And definitely with all of that work and like in the editing process, creative process, like you definitely lose that energy and like run out of energy. So like personally, like what would you recommend if like you've ever gone through like that creative process? Like since I know you do music, right? So definitely like how would you say to cope with those types of things?
I'd say like for me, I usually do about like a 6-hour, 7-hour time slot for where I practice saxophone, but that doesn't mean I'm continuously practicing, Like I kind of split it into 2-hour sessions or sometimes 1.5-hour sessions because you got to eat food, you got to hydrate, you got to sit back and evaluate yourself. That way you're not getting carried away because in the end you're trying to be better than yesterday. You don't want to work backwards in any way. So I think it's just really important to self-evaluate and just stay healthy mentally and physically.
Mm.
No, I agree with that 100%. And for all of the listeners and viewers, just a side note, Kush is a really, really talented saxophone player. And both
That's
of us,
facts.
we've heard it, and this dude's really good. So you gotta start
So,
your own like channel, bro, so we can plug you for
dude,
that.
That's
trust me.
facts.
That's the idea, bro. I'm filling out all these apps till like February 27th. After that, dude, I'm going all the way for sure.
There we
I'll let
go.
you guys know.
Perfect.
Yeah. Also, like speaking about music, like, do you want to talk about like your music career, like when you started, how you started?
Yeah, definitely. So I used to, one of my older cousins, who lives in the Bay Area, he plays the saxophone. Not as much these days, but when I first, saw him playing, I was like, it's a pretty cool instrument, I'd like to know how to do that. So in sixth grade, I asked if I could play the saxophone because you couldn't play the saxophone in fifth grade. So I had to play clarinet, which was interesting. But after that, it was pretty exciting. In seventh grade, I auditioned for the jazz program at Folsom Middle School, and ever since, man, it's great. The program lets you travel with the band to so many different places, play at different festivals. You get to listen to all these different musicians. It really just opens up the playing field, understanding of what other guys are doing, their perception of music, and just the talent level. It's really inspiring. So I just continued till 12th grade, and now I'm looking to kind of just make my own music, write my
Mm.
own music. And I have FL Studios, so I'm using that as kind of like to make chord progressions because I think in this day and age, you don't necessarily need 3 to 4 guys to make a band. You know what I mean? You can be a musician and you can create backing tracks just off like a software like FL Studios.
Mm.
So I think that's the digital age that we're in is really really beneficial to artists like myself.
Yeah. And like also when you got into music, were you like one of the people that like didn't like it at first, or were you just like in love with it like the first time you ever like thought about playing?
I mean, like as with school, we don't really like how it is all the time, but as you get used to it, you're like, oh, there's a lot more that I can do at home, that isn't what my band teacher's telling me to do. Like, the songs that he gave us were like super weird, I'm not gonna lie. But I went home and I just start playing like two songs that I actually like popular music. So it trains your ear pretty well, and then you just grow more of a passion for it because you're not restricted to like a classical feel or something.
Yeah, because definitely like when I was starting out, since for those who don't know, I do like Indian Carnatic music. It's like classical music in South India. And I remember when I first started it, like I saw people just like spending like hours and hours with the teacher since, obviously like when it comes to like Western music, generally like teachers have like that, standard time slot. Like the teacher that I went to, there was like no time slot. You go in there, you're probably there for like 3 to 4 hours just singing. I remember I hated it at first since it was just like something completely new and different that like I never done before. But like definitely over time when I started getting used to it and like learning, like what the songs mean, because obviously it's in a different language. Like once you like start learning what it means and like how representative it is to our culture and our religion, that's like when I start to, kind of fall in love with it, obviously. So yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So like also like what would you recommend people like if they're trying to get into music or maybe they're not like, like wanting to do it at first, like what do you tell them?
Yeah. No, I totally say just explore every genre that you can because the one that you might be playing in isn't, something that you like. So, try popular culture, try jazz, try, like you said, your own cultural genres like Hindustani music, anything that relates to you more. That way you can feel more passionate about it and actually see if you love it.
Mm.
Yeah. For because I know in general a lot of people use music as a coping method. Not necessarily people that create music. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that like listen to music, whether it's pop or rap or indie, any of those. So for you guys, both of you guys that have made music, how do you feel it is as a method of coping? Do you think it's easier for you to cope with the problem through music, or has it become that at this point? Because both of you guys have been doing it for a long time. So at this point, is it like you use it as a coping method or as a way to express yourself, or is it just something you enjoy?
Oh,
Let's get back to it. Easy,
okay.
cool, cool. I mean, for myself, I really like whenever I have a problem that I can't really solve, like with paper and pencil, or like just like mentally, then I pick a song that I love and just keep playing. Write some songs. Not sometimes it's simply listening to songs, listening to jazz, listening to another saxophone player. It just kind of gives you a little break and think of it in like a better mind state.
Mm. Yeah, for me, definitely like the more I got into it, the more like I start to love it. Definitely, it is a coping mechanism. Like anytime I'm feeling stressed, with work or school related, definitely I'll start singing something. And also, even with like classical music from like Indian stuff, I know people are like, "Oh, you can't make your own stuff because it's religious. It's always like passed down. It's like a tradition thing." But you can always like make your own like lyrics and stuff. There's like really no limits to it, pretty much. So definitely, like I try to like make something as well, like maybe if I'm feeling sad one day, maybe try to like convert that into a song, or if I'm feeling like super happy or excited, then do that as well. So yeah.
And then
Nice.
for creating music, how do you guys come up with like the lyrics or the song? Do you do it based on your moods? Do you do it based on something you want to get off your chest? Or how do you guys go through with that process?
I would say personally, I use a lot of other influences. So my songs for jazz specifically, they're based on a lot of other songs. Like obviously they're not copied, but there's just a vibe that you pick up, and it's not necessarily tied to any emotions until after I play it. And if I like it, then that's how I feel
Hmm.
for me.
Yeah, because for the music that I sing, there's not really like lyrics you do. I know for Hindustani, it's very similar. It's like Sari Gama Pa Dha Ni Sa, for those who don't know. That's kind of like the scale that you guys go on. And there's like different ragas. I believe that's what you say in Hindustani. For in Carnatic you say ragam. So it's kind of like the sound. It's like the different pitches that you sing in. So definitely like that's what I do. Like especially if I'm feeling sad, maybe I'll sing in like maybe like a raga that's like a bit more saddened, or if I'm a bit happy, then I'll sing in like a raga that's a bit more happy. And then honestly, just like go off that scale pretty much, because there's like different beats and different like methods that you use. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I don't do music too much. I'm not gonna lie, I don't have the voice or the experience, but I do. I used to, at least. I haven't in a while, but I used to write poetry, and for that, it was me. For me, it was just a lot more of, if I have something I need to say, then I'm gonna use that. If I can't necessarily spread message about a problem that I want to spread the message about, then I'm going to use poetry. It's just a way for me to communicate with others, because I feel like everyone can read poetry. You don't necessarily have to agree with me or not. But when it comes to simple communication, like word speaking, not necessarily everyone is going to be interested and everyone's going to give you the time. But when it's written down on a piece of paper, it might be added to, it might be easier for people to understand. So I feel like, is that the same way for music? Is that what you guys believe?
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty similar. But going back to poetry, do you think when because I've seen you perform poetry, do you think there's like a specific cadence to it?
That all kind of depends on what type you're writing. For me, at least, I write a lot more of rhyming poetry,
Yeah.
just because I enjoy. I feel like it's a puzzle to find all the words that rhyme together and still be able to get a message across. But there's a lot of different people that do like slam poetry or non-rhyming poetry. The works, like if you see, there's a lot of poets like Rupi Kaur. She's a really really talented poet, and hers, it's not always rhyming, or it's not always the very long poetry. It's really short things, but they spread a message. I haven't necessarily seen her perform just because I don't watch too much poetry, but it definitely depends on what you're writing and how you want your message to get across. There's a lot of parts in like there's a lot of verses that you write that you want to be delivered fast versus others slow. So it kind of just depends on you as an author. And I feel like that kind of goes similar in that way. Music and poetry could be a lot really hand in hand just because there's a lot of verses that you come up with or a lot of beats that you want in a song that you speed up or you slow down, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that's how hip hop came to be.
Yeah,
You know?
it's facts. Yeah, poetry.
Yep. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. And also, speaking about music, I know Kushaj and I, we recently watched the movie Soul. Sankalp, did you watch that movie?
Oh, I'm probably gonna watch it today. I was planning on watching a movie today, so I'm gonna watch it.
It's a must, bro. It's a beautiful movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely makes you think a lot, especially like in the day and age we live in. Like, the things that we don't see, like the small things in life, how like makes us like really happy and like, that way like we don't get like burnt out or in the everyday world we're like always on our phones on social media, but just taking the time to relax, like even, Kushaj going out for a run, definitely those types of things, definitely something to remember and it's important.
I think it really teaches you to like appreciate your surroundings and actually love your life before you can kind of search for what you want to put out onto the world, so to speak.
Hmm.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And definitely puts
I
out
mean,
the message. Yeah, it definitely puts out the message saying that, your profession or, your major is like your purpose in life. It's something more than that.
yeah, I
Definitely.
agree with that. I haven't seen the movie, but I can agree with those points about how a lot of people going into college think my major defines me when really it doesn't, because you never know what's gonna happen. That's what a lot of people, even not even for college, they just don't know what they want to do in life. That's okay. You don't have to have a bullet point list and check off every single point because I guarantee you're not going to be able to check off every single point just because you don't know what life holds. No one knew the COVID virus was going to stop all gatherings in 2020. No one predicted that, and it still happened. So you never know what's going to happen in the future. So I don't know if you guys have seen Kung Fu Panda, right?
Definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah. So one thing that Master Oogway said in that movie that stuck with me for my entire life. It's like, the future is the future, the past is the past, but you have to enjoy the present. That's why it's a gift, right? That's why it's called present. And I think people need to take that into consideration while they're here. Not everything is gonna be the same every single day. So you got to enjoy every single day for what that day brings to you, what that day has to offer, because that day isn't coming back, right? And I think that's something that, as a society, we need to say it's okay to enjoy yourself. It's okay to have some days where you just want to relax. You want to take a day off. As long as you have a set goal and you're making a positive impact on the world or on yourself, even, then you have accomplished enough for the day, right? You don't necessarily need to, oh, I want to write a 2,000 word paper. It's due in 2 weeks. All right, I'm going to do all of it today. Right? You can, spread it out evenly. You have to accomplish everything in one day because it's very hard to do. And you, as a person, you don't need that stress on you.
Hmm.
It's kind of all about like continual progress, just being better than yesterday. That's the ultimate goal,
Exactly.
Yeah. But definitely like how Sankalp was saying about like the essay, there's also like a difference between like procrastination and like, taking time off. Cause also you should make sure that you get your work done on time. But, obviously it's important to take those breaks, like especially when you can get it, because it's definitely important to rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, with papers, man, you need to be in the right mind space, Otherwise, it will totally fall off in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I'd be careful.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I procrastinate. I procrastinate a very decent or more than necessary amount on some work. But it's not like if I'm procrastinating, I feel like there's a healthy way to procrastinate and an unhealthy way to procrastinate. like healthy ways to procrastinate are, sure, you can push work off until the last minute, but you don't cram every single thing from like 8 different subjects or whatever, right? You have a, a decent amount to get everything together, to get everything worked out, to get everything planned out. And even if you're procrastinating, take some time in between. Or if you do everything at the last minute, there's a lot of days where you're just not in the right mindset. And if you're not in the right mindset, you can't perform. That's just one thing I've learned is if you're writing an essay, if you're studying for a paper, if you're doing any of that, if you're not in the right mindset, performing on that is going to be very tough. You have to be in the zone, right? So if you're not in the zone and you procrastinated to the last minute, that's going to be tough for you. It's a lot of mental stress. So even if you are procrastinating, remember that you have to do it healthy. Like you have to be healthy while procrastinating. Just because all that extra stress is just that's being added on you, and you don't. I don't know why anyone would want to add stress to their life. It's not like it's not stressful enough.
I think we just get really, exhausted mentally doing one thing for a long period of time. So I think it's important, like if you need to, just 10 minutes doing one thing, 10 minutes doing something else, 10 minutes doing something else. I feel like that would be a healthy way to procrastinate,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely from that. I was gonna say like, what are your goals to accomplish this year? Since we're in a new year, 2021. Like, what are your goals that you're trying to accomplish?
Me personally, I'm trying to put on 25 pounds. So far I put on 8. So, we're getting there. But uh, other than that, I'm trying to put on 15 of my own original compositions, and start doing a little more YouTube covers, and on the saxophone, and just get into a little more vocally as well. Um, I want to start using my voice a little more this year. So yeah, that's what I'm getting into. What about you guys?
Anish, you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, so definitely like I would say the opposite for me. I'm trying to like lose like 25, 30 pounds. That's kind of like my that's kind of my goal. That I'm trying to reach hopefully by like next month or by March. I'm trying to do that. But yeah, definitely I think hopefully like getting more into music since I've kind of taken a break since like last August, purely just because getting into college, obviously it's a different mindset than doing high school. So definitely trying to get back more into that, focusing on that. And yeah, just hopefully that this year can just be a better year, honestly, for all of us. That's really what I'm hoping for this year.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't necessarily set any goals as in, oh, I want to get this, this, and this done yet. I'm procrastinating on that. Um, but no, I think one general goal that I have every single year is just to stay healthy and stay positive as much as I can. So I'm just going to keep that going forward.
Yeah. Alrighty. Should we get into the audio portion?
Do you have anything else you want to talk about, Kushaj, or do you want to move into the audio?
Let's go right into it.
All right. Yeah, so for those who are watching on video, thanks so much for watching. If you guys want to listen to our audio portion, which is just going to be like rapid fire questions, make sure to tune in Spotify, iTunes. And yeah, follow us on Instagram, brown_boys_3. And yeah.
Real quick, before we go into the audio portion, the thing I think we have is we get really, really into conversation, and we like get so lost in our conversation. We start to enjoy ourselves so much that we always forget to do the thumbnail, man. So we got to do a
Oh, yeah,
thumbnail
that's
really
facts.
quickly.
All right. Let's just all stare
So
at the
Kushaj,
camera
just
and
look
smile.
into the camera and smile.
Let me do this. Does it look better?
All right, there you go.
Yeah. All right.
Alrighty. I think that's it.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Alrighty, yeah. Alrighty, guys. Thanks so much for watching. See you later. Peace. Alrighty, but now we're on to the audio portion. So, do you want to get into some rapid fire questions? Uncle, do you want to start it off?
Let's do it. Okay. So this one I had planned from yesterday, but if you could go live in another country, or you could get one power not of your choosing, what would you take?
I'd just go to a different country. Because can you choose the country?
Yeah, sure. We'll say you can choose the country.
Yeah, man, I'm going to Japan.
That's facts. Japan's such a nice place. Yeah. Wait, Sankalp, what was the question again?
If you could go to choose, so you can either go to another country or you could get a superpower not of your choosing.
If that's the case, then yeah, I just travel to any place, probably like Japan. So I'll just hang out with Kushaj there.
There you go. There you go. Make some music, man. We'll enlighten them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alrighty. Do you have a question, Kushaj? Or?
All right.
You got a question, Kushaj?
All right, I got you. Okay. So if you could influence the world in any way, what way would you choose? You could choose anything.
I think I'd go first. I think even Sankalp and I have kind of like talked about this a little bit, but I would say definitely education. Like, even if like Sankalp wanted to run for presidency in the future, like I think definitely one thing is education, making sure people are educated about certain things, especially with stuff that's happened recently in the world. Like definitely, making sure they understand like the differences of like, what's right and what's wrong. I think that's really important.
Yeah. I'd say 3 things that are extremely important are education, equality, and the fact, and how people are like, oh, let's normalize this, let's normalize that. I think one thing that we really need to actually normalize is letting people be different and allowing people to make mistakes, right? I feel like our society doesn't necessarily, we're not the best with that. And that's something we need to change just because it's a different world today. And we gotta allow people to be themselves, right? We can't keep people boxed in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what about you, Kushaj? What would you want?
I would just love to give people a way to I would love to influence them to definitely be themselves, but also give them motivation to pursue what they love to do rather than be pressured into something that they may or may not want to do, but it may just be the financially easy way to go about things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like with that, this isn't necessarily a rapid fire question, but it's just another point. I feel like, especially in our society, being Indian or just being Asian or brown in that sense, because it's not only India, it's a lot of places. But the fact is, we do, a lot of our people pressure their families into specific businesses, into specific career paths. And that kind of silences their true desires in a sense. I mean, this hasn't happened with me, thankfully. I'm very blessed with that. But I know a lot of people who do enjoy doing a certain thing, and their parents tell them, no, you can't do that. You have to go into that specific field, or you have to go into, doctor, engineer, lawyer, one of those, right? When they don't want to go into that field, they want to do something else. They want to enjoy themselves. So I feel like one thing we need to understand is, whatever job you're going to be working at, you're going to be working at for the majority of your life, right? Like, not necessarily job as in that business, but that occupation in general. So if you're going to be working at it for the majority of your life, at least do something you enjoy, right?
Exactly. You have to do what you love to do. Otherwise, you'll find yourself struggling. You wake up, you'll be like, oh, I don't want to go to work today. You might even call sick, and like that's like not the idea.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And even the movie Soul, The Lost Soul, that's what that represents. Yeah.
That's a good point.
You'll find that out, Uncle, once you watch it.
Yeah, I'll find it out. Yeah.
We won't spoil it for you.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna watch the movie and then I'm gonna be connecting all these points. Like, oh yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah. All right. I'll ask a question. Let's see. Let's do something like completely off topic. Let's say, like, what do you think about tattoos? And if you would, like, what kind of tattoo would you get?
I would probably get a saxophone on my left arm, left bicep specific.
By that specifically?
Left bicep.
Is there like a reason behind it, or?
You can
I
flex
mean,
the
you know,
saxophone.
yeah, you can flex a saxophone literally, and and you know, I just feel like it'd be meaningful. But I'm way too young to actually go through with anything. So you know, I'm not gonna get a tattoo.
Yeah. No, I feel like if I would get a tattoo, I'd probably just get, I don't know. There's a lot of things. I feel like if you're getting a tattoo, you want it to mean something. You want it to be special to you. So I'd probably just do something that's, a few numbers that are special to me, or a date that's special to me. Just something like that.
Mhm.
See, that's a very mature response, man. You should get a tattoo.
That tomorrow I'm getting a tattoo.
Sounds good, man. Let me know when. I'll do it
Yeah.
for you.
See, that's the thing. You can get a really mature response of what you want to get as a tattoo, but you can give it a horrible place. Get
Yeah,
a
that's true.
few days tatted on your forehead. Right?
Your left,
Weird
like
that.
your left cheek or something. Your nose,
Oof.
your bottom lip.
What about you, Anish?
I mean, I feel like ever since I was a kid, like there's like definitely two tattoos I've always wanted. I probably wouldn't get it until like maybe 5, 6 years or something like that. But definitely I wanted to get like a Dragon Ball tattoo, like the 4-star Dragon Ball, since that's also been one thing big in my life. And also maybe like a Yu-Gi-Oh tattoo. That'd be pretty dope. And maybe getting like Kobe's number, like 8 and 24, since he's also been a pretty big motivation in my life as well. Yeah.
Alright, that's nice. That's nice. Okay, bet. So I'm up for the question. Let's see. If you could only do one exercise for the rest of your life, what would you do?
Pull-ups. I'll be pretty, I guess you could say bland, but yeah, pull-ups is for me.
Yeah.
Mm.
What about you, Anish?
I'm trying to think. I feel like, I guess what SANKALP does, jump rope, since I feel like it works out your whole body. Like definitely something cardio. I think I would definitely do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, SANKALP?
I'm definitely jump rope, dude. I'm obsessed with jump roping. I'm in love with jump rope.
Yeah. And also there's like a ton of fun things you can do with jump ropes, like, different like moves, different techniques.
Exactly. If you guys want, you guys can check it out. I can teach you how to dance in a jump rope.
Yeah. I remember seeing your Instagram post and I was like, dude, that's dope.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right.
But yeah, Kushaj, you're up.
All right. If you could be creative in any way, what would your creative strong point be? You could totally choose.
By creative, you mean like
as in you could sing, you could you could play an instrument of your choosing, you could act, that type of thing.
I feel like I'd probably just stick with what I do now, and that's poetry.
Yeah, for me, since I do YouTube, I do filmmaking. That's definitely like my biggest creative aspect. I found myself to love that art, since you can really be creative with it, especially in the post-production process. Like you can do like different transitions and just like make your own story, which is what I love with filmmaking and storytelling, really. And also, Kushaj, if you need help filming, I got you.
Appreciate that, man. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
But for myself, I definitely stick to what I'm good at right now. But if I could choose, I feel like I'd love to be a comedic actor. Like Will Ferrell. Man, look at him,
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to be him?
Would you want to be Adam Sandler or Will Ferrell?
Definitely Will Ferrell, bro.
Really?
Like, dude, the man is an improvisational god, there's just no way. Like, you just, any conversation, bro, he'll turn it in, upside down in 2 seconds. It's crazy. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, those dudes are I think a lot of at least our generation, we're blessed with all these great comedic actors that came, a lot of them that came from SNL especially. Man, those dudes are talented.
Dude, one of them is literally a late night show host now, Jimmy Fallon, dude. Like,
No.
Jimmy Fallon. There's also Seth Meyers.
yeah. Dude, did you guys know Conan has a Harvard degree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's pretty
Just
cool.
goes to show you can do anything you want.
Exactly, dude. Like Jimmy Fallon didn't even like graduate college, bro, and they're both in the same profession. So you know, that's like really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, my turn.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Growing up, like, who was definitely like the biggest person you guys look up to, or who had like the biggest impact in your life?
It's a big one.
Yeah.
Give me a sec.
I mean, other than like, my parents, just because I think your parents, whether you like it or not, but they have an impact on your life. But for me, it was my mom, it was my dad, just because for me, at least personally, my mom basically, got me and my brother up. And my dad used to travel for a living. Ever since I was 2 years old, he used to go out for the week in different states, but he'd come back for 2 days. And that was only on the weekends. And then the weekends used to be busy. So we didn't get to spend as much time with him. But my mom was there, every single day. She used to take me and my brother to school, used to, drop us off at our practices, got both of us, me and my brother, involved in sports, and, we learned martial arts. But you don't necessarily always see this when you're growing up, but the amount of effort that a parent puts in for you, it's insane. Just to see, like my mom we used to have days where it'd be school, and then right after that we'd have one sport and then another sport, and then we had to come home, do homework, right? So she'd be driving us 3 different places and then back too. So that's 6 different trips she's taking, and all of them are right back to back. So it's just crazy to see the fact that someone that genuinely loves you that much is willing to put in that much time and effort for your growth. That motivates you.
Definitely. If I were to say anyone besides my family, I would probably choose a man named Charlie Parker. He was a saxophonist just like myself, but he pretty much reinvented jazz in and of itself in the 60s, 50s, 60s. And much respected guy. I'd recommend to listen to his music, but yeah, probably biggest influence right now for me.
Yeah, besides my family, there's definitely like 3 people I have in mind. I would say definitely my music teacher, like especially showing me like, what, our music means, especially Carnatic, like the meaning in the lyrics. Another one, as I said before, Kobe Bryant, definitely like that mama mentality. Like no matter how hard you get pushed down or no matter what people say, got to get back on your feet. Definitely keep pushing forward. And there's one more. I guess also just like my brother, he also pushes me to, be better in my life because, he's also gone through his ups and downs and tries to help me out too.
Yeah. All right, I got one. What got you into the specific major that you're in now?
I mean, to put it in the most simplest terms, passion and utter interest that is greater than any other subject I could think of.
Because you're a comms major, right?
Yeah, business journalism. I just feel like it's important to use your voice,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I love music, but it's a form of communication in the end,
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I do computer science. So for me, I definitely like being in the tech field. I think definitely being creative in that space is honestly something I've looked up to since I was a kid. I think the one thing I don't like about it is definitely like the coding aspect. I like being in the creative process and like designing and graphic design, like things like that. But definitely when it comes to like coding, I feel like I just don't like the fact that I have to like sit down at a desk like all day and just like code and then get burnt out at the end of it. So definitely like that's why I'm kind of like dipping my toes like into filmmaking, like trying to minor for that. So maybe one day I can get into like the Hollywood industry, be a director, storytelling, things like that. So yeah,
Mhm.
looking into that.
Makes sense.
What about you,
All right.
Sabo?
Oh yeah.
Okay. The reason I picked PR, which is also comms, is just because it's something I've just been good at my life, and it took me way too long to realize it. But eventually, when I started thinking about it, at first I was like, "Oh, okay, I might as well just take the the brown route." But then I was like, "No, I don't want to do that. I want to be different. I want to do something I truly enjoy, and that's communicating and communications, not communicating." But then I decided PR just because being able to talk and being able to write your way out of and not way out of stuff, but write your way through stuff, talk your way through stuff. I feel like is something I'd enjoy for the next 50, 60 years of my life.
So I got one. So you think of Elon Musk. Um, do you think it's mentally healthy to make the amount of sacrifices that he made?
All right, I'm gonna get a little religious on you real quick. But so I don't know if you guys have read because you guys both practice Hinduism, right?
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So in the Gita, which is our one of our like holy books, it, it has this point about if you want to gain Krishna conscious. So Krishna conscious means you've unlocked your soul, right? You've become this perfect human. You've become your best human being, right? For that, it says you have to sacrifice everything, right? You have to leave your family. You have to leave all your loved ones. Um, that might necessarily not be as everyone believes it, but from what I've read, that's what I've seen for at least gaining that specific portion. But then again, there's a lot of different ways to practice. So I'm just gonna say what I've seen. And I don't know if you have to, if sacrificing everything is important because sure, in order to gain something, you have to sacrifice. If you want to get to a high spot in life, you have to sacrifice something. It depends on you as a person, what you're willing to sacrifice, what you're able to sacrifice. A lot of people they sacrifice time with their family. A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people need that time with their family. So before you sacrifice anything, you have to learn about yourself as a person. You have to learn what you can sacrifice and what you can't sacrifice. Because if you sacrifice something you can't live without, then you're harming yourself. So learn about yourself and then sacrifice. And I think that's what a lot of these big people, business people did is they had to learn about themselves before they sacrificed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Like when I think about Elon Musk, like I think about two stories that have like a significant like impacts in someone like that's life. Definitely like Great Gatsby, and also like the movie that we just watched, Soul. I think it kind of like takes like a part of the things that we think that should be like our main priority in life, like to make money, to be obviously Elon's like now the most richest person in the world, but once you have all that money, like are you really happy? Like are you really like satisfied with your life? Is that what you've always wanted, or is there like something more to it? Like, do you want to be more adventurous? Do you want to travel more? Do you want to experience more stuff? So definitely, I feel like money shouldn't be like the main focus in your life. I mean, it's definitely a tool, it's a utility, but at the end of the day, you really need to focus on yourself and, be with people that mean a lot to you.
Definitely, man. I think you just have to look at what your ultimate goal is and slowly eliminate all distractions, make the sacrifices necessary. I think even Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, he still said, he sacrificed time with his family. And I think at 12 years old, he couldn't even score a point in his own age group. And at 14, he was the best in the state in all age groups. So that just shows you what making the proper sacrifices can do for you.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. All right. For my question, what was your best period in your life? Like, as a child, middle school, high school, college. What's your best?
I'd say college, because it's opened up. I just feel the most I've ever been myself, in simplest terms.
Mhm.
I'd have to agree. I mean, we've only spent one semester in online college, but in that one semester, I've enjoyed myself more than I did throughout high school and middle school, just because it's a much healthier environment. It's a much more fun environment, and it's stressful at times, but then again, it's not like you're doing something you truly enjoy. So I feel like that just pushes you. It gives you enough motivation to make it through the day.
Mm. Yeah, I'd agree. Definitely college. Like, especially, you know, seeing it from a high school standpoint. Like with high school, every single day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 3 o'clock, you're always having class. But especially with college, you can kind of like plan out like your week. Like on some days you can have like certain classes. Some days you can just be like completely free. You don't have like a single class. So definitely like making your own schedule. I think it's one of the benefits. And also definitely like seeing from high school like how much it's like impacted and how much like I respect from the memories that I've made in high school. Being able to make communications and the stuff that nowadays we don't get to do, especially with the pandemic, not being able to see one another and making new friends. So definitely one thing I appreciate from high school. Yeah.
All right. What is one thing you would like to change about the society around you?
I think there's just so much judgment and comparativeness. It's kind of stunting people's growth mentally, and it's you should be comparing yourself to yesterday's version of you. You shouldn't be comparing yourself to, look at what that guy's doing. You know what I mean? That's like how you create, mental health issues. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something we as a society should totally step away from.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with that. I don't think it could be better said than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely taking the
Definitely.
time to relax and not getting burnt out. And obviously, as you said, judgment, ego, greed. I think those are some of the biggest things that really affect us and not being able to be, to our full potential that we possibly could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd say those are really important. I feel like one thing that should be talked about is it kind of goes hand in hand with the part about Anish that you've said in earlier podcasts, but like bandwagoning
Mm.
and not necessarily bandwagoning is in that aspect or in that viewpoint, but as in the sense that joining something but then not fully going through with it, right? Or being a part of something, spreading a specific message but not necessarily agreeing with it yourself, just doing it for the social media aspect of it. That's something I feel like we need to change, just because you can't post something on Instagram and expect change, right? You have to change yourself in order to expect that change. There's a lot of people that I've seen that have been really active about issues on social media, but they don't practice that same thing in their day to day. And I feel like that's something that don't it's like don't talk the talk if you're not gonna walk the walk. So that's something I feel like needs to change.
All right, I got one. So, what do you guys think of literally just social media and its role as a distraction in
Yeah. I mean, definitely, I think we were kind of talking about it before, like judgment, I think that's definitely a big part because we all see like, social media celebrities, we see like what they're doing, they got their Lamborghini, their expensive cars, their money. And like we expect like, oh, once we grow up, we can do the same thing just by posting photos on social media. But really, like we're kind of just like, fish in the ocean, right? Just like, we're just like in this, like we're small, like in this big world. And like, even though we post all this stuff, even though we like try to make a difference, like it's not necessarily like going to make like a huge impact, obviously. Like that's why you kind of have to be different. Like everyone's trying to go like the same route and like trying to spread this or like repost this story, but in reality, you kind of have to find a different method if you want to, approach something different.
Yeah. Social media is either going to be your biggest friend or your worst enemy. That's the way I see it. You can if you can use social media to benefit you, to make a positive impact, then I'm all for it. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people use social media as a way to target others, as a way to bring others down. That's just, you're wasting your own time.
I feel like, yeah, no, go ahead if you're going to continue.
No, that's it.
Got you. So I feel like there's a lot of people that are using it as a platform to express how happy they are when they may or may, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I, for one, have just stopped using it in general. Like I put, screen time, the screen time app on your phone.
Yeah. Mm.
You can use it to set time limits certain apps. So I've like 30-minute time limit on Snapchat and Instagram every day. So I just don't use it that much. When I do start to use it, I'm use it to start like posting music, actually in like an entrepreneurial way, rather than posting like anything or everything that I'm doing like most people. And it creates less of a distraction and less comparativeness, as we were talking about. And yeah, that's my standpoint.
Yeah, because especially for me, like since I make YouTube and like filmmaking and stuff, definitely like the one thing I try to make my YouTube channel about is like vlogs and traveling. To show the importance of why it's important to travel, like why you should go outside and not just like sit all day on your computer and just like watch content all the time. So honestly, like I'm fine if people don't subscribe to my channel because I really want people to go outside and experience their own new way. That's what I try to represent in my videos. Obviously, with the pandemic, it's kind of hard to travel, but I try to make the best of it my own way. And definitely another way of doing social media is like, kind of like what Sankalp and I are doing with this podcast, definitely trying to bring more awareness to things that, should be brought to, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're up, Anish.
Oh, I'm up. All right, let's see. All right, let's say if you were like a high school principal or like a college principal or someone in the district, right? If you had to make one class, mandatory, what class would it be?
Other than the ones
I think they fit.
Go ahead.
No, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, is it other than the ones that are all
good?
all I was gonna ask
so I think they don't.
This is perfect.
All you were gonna ask is
that is it other than the ones that we're going with right now? Like other than the classes that are already mandatory.
Mm-hmm.
Then go ahead, Kushaj. I need a minute.
Okay. Got you. So I don't think they teach you specifically how to focus, you know what I mean? Like in high school or even middle school, they'll like point to someone that's distracted. They'd be like, you need to, you know what I mean? And then they'll like tell you like, how to. So I think they should really primarily focus on teaching kids how to focus.
Yeah. I say that, and I also say speaking in general, having ways to build up students' confidence to be able to speak. Just because no matter what field you go into, you're going to be needing to speak. You have to be able to speak and communicate with others. And a lot of students that I've seen just right now can't do that. They break down in front of crowds. They can't get their words out. So speaking is something that needs to be taught. Getting kids comfortable enough with being able to present or being able to talk to others is something that needs to, I'd say, be mandatory.
Yeah. I was definitely going to say for me, definitely I think something that's super mandatory is like how to be financially stable, definitely working with your finances, especially with the econ. I know for me, I was taking econ senior year in high school and only just did like half of it because the pandemic hit. But I think it's definitely something important because a lot of people, they don't necessarily like see how to spend their money wisely because, especially with social media and so many ads and stuff going up, like we see like what's the latest computer to get or like what's the latest car to get and, like housing and things like that. We see all this and we're like, oh, like I want to go spend money on this. But in reality, in order to be rich, in order to save up your money, like you definitely need to save up. It's not all about spending. If you save up, that's the way how, you make that money. So definitely, I think financially is definitely something that we need to focus on. Yeah. All right. Any other questions or?
You got any questions, Kushaj?
No, it's looking empty.
Alrighty. I think that does for us, right?
Yeah. Any message to the listeners you got from Kushaj? Final words of wisdom?
I would definitely say that you should put as much time as you need into looking for your passion and what you actually want to do for the rest of your life and eliminate any pressure from other people.
Solid. Yeah.
Words of wisdom with Kushaj.
It's facts. Alrighty.
New segment.
Yeah, the
New
facts.
segment.
Yeah. Alrighty. But for those who are on the audio portion, thanks so much for listening. We appreciate you guys. And yeah, as you guys heard, we had a lot of great topics. Honestly, enjoyed this conversation a lot. And definitely something that I think a lot of people need to listen to. It's definitely very, very important. I think one of the biggest things is like definitely taking a break, definitely taking your time to focus on yourself. So yeah.
So without any further ado, we will catch you guys in the season finale of Brown Boys Theory.
Yeah. Alrighty. Peace.
Thank you.